Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Oh, I like this one from my dear friend John Bond. Thunder is the sound of hoofbeats of horses in heaven. I love that. Thank you, John. And good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith. And God bless America on a Monday, April the 9th. Have a good one today and call in for the Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. And a good morning to you this morning on a Monday, April 9th. And I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch. And here we go. Saddle up for another week right here with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with a big spring tire sale going on right now. Absolutely. And also some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. They are helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hey.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very well done. I know that you're going to call back in a few minutes, and I'll look forward to it. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it.
You bet.
All right, buddy. Thank you. It is time for the weather, and the weather brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Right there, smack dab on the Burley-Paul Highway. You can't miss them. And the number to call just to find out more information about their tools and equipment, 678-3122. They've got all the power rakes and the rototillers for getting the garden ready, and they've got all the lawnmowers and the forklifts and the power tools, everything over there at K&R Rental. Roger and the crew serving you, and they open the doors early at 7 o'clock in the morning. Right there again on the Burley-Paul Highway, K&R Rental. Right now, here's the weather.
Here is your weather forecast as we kick off another work week, and it's going to be nice for today, but as we make our way through the rest of the week, not so nice. Looks like sunny skies with a high of 58, slightly breezy, winds out of the southwest, right around 10 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly clear with a low of 37. Tomorrow, partly sunny skies, slightly breezy, high of 67, close to 70. Can you believe that?
Ooh.
For Tuesday night, 40% chance of rain showers, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 42. Wednesday, partly sunny, high of 62, but by Wednesday night, 60% chance of showers, mostly after midnight, with a low of 40. For Thursday, chance of rain showers before noon, possible snow showers as well. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 45. That is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
And thank you very much, Gina. Well done as always. And brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn on the Burley-Paul Highway. Number to call, 678-3122. K&R Rental. Wow. If for some reason this morning it's really hard to get back in the saddle and start riding again this morning. Woo-wee, what a weekend. And busy and windy, and it all took place this weekend. We had it all, didn't we, weather-wise? I want to remind you, too, about our dear friends at Daryl's Cleaners. And if you haven't gone in there, I urge you to do so, because they are the world's best. Absolutely. Don't take those winter clothes, the sweaters, the the jackets and everything else and just throw them in the closet or throw them in a drawer. Get them cleaned first. It's a lot easier on your clothing. And believe me, now's the time where you can save money. Get them in there. You'll be ready for them next fall. Stop in and see Kevin and Cindy today at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. And that is the world's best Daryl's Cleaners in Burley. I want to also remind you about our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. All your heating, and then we'll emphasize this word because we're getting closer to that time of the year, cooling needs. Everything, heating, cooling, electrical needs, all there at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. They're open at 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday, and the number to call, 678-0459, Ramsey Heating and Electric. Your turn. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I had a severely devastating, embarrassing accident yesterday, and my lovely bride of 46 years just about couldn't handle what she found humor in the situation. I found it to be, at first, not funny at all, but then after about 10 minutes, I calmed down somewhat and decided that it must have looked relatively funny. And I will share with you what happened and could possibly happen to any one of us that are in the livestock business. I'll get right to that. Don't forget Denny's Restaurant at 611 North Overland in Burley. It is America's Diner. 611 North Overland in Burley, and another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. I mean, you go in there, you sit down, you open up the menu, and you go, wow! Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, anytime, all the time, all the desserts, all the choices, great friendly people. Yep. That's the place, Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and it is so true. America's Diner, serving you. Yesterday, when we came home from church, I thought, well, old Stinger, my horse, one of them, I just better get him out. And, the weather was kind of nasty and gnarly with the winds blowing and the rain, and then it would turn to sleet, and oh my goodness, it's been nasty. I says, let's turn him out in that big pen. Okay, so we put the horse out in that big pen, and I thought, as goofy as he gets, maybe we better stay here to make sure he doesn't slip, slide, and go through a fence or whatever, because he gets a little bit wound up. So we're out there in this big pen, and we turned him loose, and he was tearing up the real estate, having a good time. And I was sitting on the edge of a 100-gallon stock tank. I think you know where this is headed. At about this time, he decided that he was going to cut and run right towards me, which he did, and I thought, whoa, I hope he stops, and if he does, he's going to slide right into me, and yours truly tried to jump up to no avail and landed in the water tank, and with the force of falling in that water tank, it tipped over on top of me. Now, do you really know how cold 100 gallons of water can be as you're laying there inside the water tank? And some of the language used, especially after the church service, probably merited me going back to church for the second sermon. But, and Deanne, she just walked into our office, absolutely was totally unprofessional in her attitude of giggling, laughing, and making fun of me as I tried to lay there in about 8 or 9 inches of water and get up in the mud and the other articles that were laying in the dirt. And it turned into I had to laugh after a bit, because how many times would that happen where you jump back and end up slipping and falling into a water tank? and all the laughs from the neighborhood and everything else. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget our friends at Pomerell Place. Absolutely a place for senior living at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. You know, there's a lot of hazards to staying at home alone. And they could be just purely the loneliness and the isolation, or safety hazards, you know, getting in and out of the shower or the tub, or maybe you're not eating properly, or you're missing your medication. Don't do that. Make sure you check on Pomerell Place. A place for senior living, offering the ability for seniors to maintain their independence both safely and comfortably. Call them at 677-8212. Pomerell Place in Burley, 1301 Bennett Street, waiting to serve you. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget to, as soon as I can find it in my list of goodies here this morning, I want to remind everybody about our friends at Dino Septic Service. Absolutely, they are serving you with the best of septic service and taking care of your septic tanks that need to be pumped, backhoe service, water and sewer lines installed, everything. Fast, fair, friendly service. They really care and do a great job. Dino Septic Service in Rupert. 2 numbers, 436-6526, and in Burley, 678-1638. As I said, fast, fair, friendly service with that great big truck that says, smells cargo on the way. Dino's Septic Service. Caller, good morning, and thank you for your patience.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
Your little incident, I backed into a electric fence one day trying to get out of the way of an animal, and forgot it was, well, I knew it was there, I just didn't realize how close it was. It's kind of a shocking experience at the time. Look back, you can laugh on it, but anyway, glad that you're all dried out.
I didn't spend a lot of time out in the wind and the cold, and I came in and got my chubby little body out of those wet clothes as fast as I could, and I'll guarantee you, Deanne was not of much help and much solace to me, because it must have been a funny thing to see, to go backing into the tank and having it tip over and get me caught inside.
That sure would have been something.
Yeah, thanks, Riley. I appreciate it. You're taking Deanne's side on this whole thing. Thank you.
I have to admit, I would have to have laughed.
All right, my friend. You take care. Thank you very much. Oh, hey, there's going to be a ripping good horse sale this coming weekend. Oh, my goodness, you don't want to miss this. It's going to start on Thursday, actually, where they're going to have all kinds of fun and dinners and barbecues and wolf howling contests. And then up there at the Salmon Select Horse Sale in Salmon, Friday's going to be the big mule sale. And then Saturday's going to be the big horse sale. There's so many other things going on during the day. This is a happening. That's right. It's at the Salmon Select Horse and Mule Sale at the Lemhi County Fairgrounds in Salmon. This week and later on this morning, we're going to be talking to old Fred Snook. He's going to be telling us much more about it. Don't miss it this weekend up in Salmon. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. On a serious note, and it doesn't get any more serious than this, a total disrespect for humanity, lives, and children. That's what's happened over in Syria. When I heard this story, two emotions come to mind. One of pure hatred for how anyone could bomb their own people with chemical weapons and little children. Some of the videos that I've seen of little children suffering and dying because of these atrocities. This is beyond anything. Anything, and I hesitate to use this word, this is beyond anything acceptable with the crimes of war. But when I watch those little children that were trying to be hosed down and get the chemicals off their bodies, the burns, some of which had already passed away because it had been inhaled in their lungs, this is enough. And I lay the blame on this. You know I'm going to be partisan about this because it's the truth. In the Obama administration, he had made the statements, well, if you ever use chemical weapons, Assad, that's the red line in the sand that if you cross, that's it. Obama never followed through. Obama did nothing. And Assad did this once before and now doing it again. I have no idea why any nation would want to stockpile the hideous and absolutely heinous chemical weapons to be used on mankind. But after what I saw with some of the videos and some of the pictures and read the graphic stories of the suffering of those that died because of that chemical weapon warfare, I wouldn't mind at all, if all of a sudden on one of the newscasts this morning from CBS, we heard that a missile had taken out the entire headquarters of Assad and any and all leadership in that supposed country. Sometimes people that are absolutely dangers to society and mankind have to be eliminated with any kind of force necessary. And I think this is one of those times, and Assad is one of those people. You know, I urge you to pray for those people over there. It is absolutely a tragedy. And those little children, it will break your heart. Let's not forget our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. And everybody's going to be going outside and doing yard work, and maybe you're going to be overdoing it and getting some sore muscles, sore joints, whatever. Well, if you're not in shape, be careful. And if you do get an injury or a strain, don't forget to call the best. And go to the best, and that's Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation with Nick Greenwell and all of his great physical therapists serving you. And the number to call to make an appointment, 678-1191. That number again, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. You get a hold of them today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
You know, the United Nations is nothing but an impotent, useless organization. It's just like a cocktail party for this bunch that we're supporting. They should be in a position where they can unite different armies or military organizations in this world and wipe that guy off the face of the earth.
Right now, there's not even words that I can think of or try to comprehend that would show my complete hatred for what was happening over there against his own people and against the children. You know, Tony, you've been around a long time, and ever since way back in prior World War II, there were talks about the chemical weapons and chemical warfare and all of this, and my God, and I mean this, my God, please stop this. I mean, this is, once you open up that box, it's pretty hard to close the lid.
You know, the trouble is, anytime there's a big thing going on in the world, the United States is the one that had to go to war and put a stop to what was going on. But it's just going to take a worldwide intervention to put a stop to this guy.
Well, something has to be done. And I don't care who bombed Syria after this was over. I don't care if it was us. We didn't claim that we had the responsibility. I don't think it was France. It might have been Israel. I don't care. I personally, right now, this man and his leadership, if you want to call it that, has got to go. And Obama is really who I blame the most. This problem should have been basically decided years ago when Obama was in office, and he made that ridiculous statement that if you cross this line by using chemical weapons, we will get you. And Obama did nothing because he was nothing but a coward.
Oh, yeah. He's the cause of all the problems that Donald Trump has today. And this is the reason why Donald Trump got in as president, because we could not afford another 8 years of a bum like Barack Obama.
The words that were used are far, far less scathing than the ones I want to use. Tony, God bless you, and Mary, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, sir. Good friends right there. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Put yourselves in the place of those people over there in Syria. And absolutely the heinous crime that was committed with the using of a chemical weapon from their so-called leader to his own people. And the little children, honestly, it breaks my heart to see these little kids that they got it in their lungs, they died. And many others were having to they were taking garden hoses as fast as they could to spray and wash off the chemical reaction and the burning. How despicable. I want to remind everybody that election is coming up for the primaries in a matter of weeks, and don't forget, Bob Nonini would like your vote for Lieutenant Governor for the state of Idaho, and he believes in parental choice in education, and he's a pro-life gentleman and very conservative that knows and cares about the issues. And as far as natural resources are concerned, roll back zealous federal regulation. Can I try that all over again? Roll back zealous federal regulations and be a real leader. Bob Nonini, Lieutenant Governor for the state of Idaho. Idaho needs Nonini. Don't forget, paid for by the committee to elect Bob Nonini, Lieutenant Governor, Treasurer R. Scott Hogue. I want to also remind you that this gentleman is such a wonderful state senator. I want you to go to the polls, and remember, he's running unopposed, but he wants your votes as you go there to reinforce his conservative values, and that's Senator Kelly Anthon. And I'll tell you what, he wants to absolutely make sure that taxes stay low and predictable, and he wants to preserve our western small-town way of life and protect agriculture, farmers and ranchers, and sportsmen, and he's working hard on the infrastructure and transportation issues in the state of Idaho. Senator Kelly Anthon, and of course paid for by the committee to elect Kelly Anthon to the Idaho State Senate. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever been in a hotel or a place like that where they have a swimming pool and a hot tub, and you get in there and the chlorine actually is so bad that it burns your eyes?
Yes.
And that's just a small example of what these people probably went through. Such a burning sensation. My heart goes out to them. That is the same as torture to me.
What are we doing as a supposed civilized society? What are we doing? Are we trying to prove that we can absolutely push the envelope to be so inhumane that anyone would use the possibility of chemical weapons not only in warfare but against their own people? I mean, I have lost any and all respect for politics and leadership around the globe that anyone would stoop this low. And I will advocate, I don't care if you agree with me or not, I will advocate that this man, Assad, and his administration needs to rot in hell because they will be taken out with a bomb, a missile, or whatever later on today. I would not hesitate in saying that.
Well, I would agree with you 100% on that. But just think, these people are innocent. These are not soldiers of war. They're not at war, supposedly. And they're just minding their own business, and someone comes along with something like this to try to destroy people they don't even know or have absolutely no connection.
Well, I just can't imagine when I saw some of the pictures and some of the videos that the general public will not see on the news because the networks, I think, I'm not in favor of censoring any information. I think we should see the horrors of what has been done and is being done. And this censorship by the network saying, oh, well, they're too graphic, you can't take it public. I think we should know. I think the public needs to know the graphicity of what's being done and the horrors of how this man, this country are treating their people.
Yeah. Could I say something a little bit on the lighter side?
Yeah, quickly. I've got to give away some cookies.
Okay. When you come in the house and you were soaking wet and everything, I imagine your lovely wife said, have you been out there horsing around again?
No, she was there in the corral with me when it happened, and her laughing curtailed her from doing anything for quite some period of time.
But knowing Deanne, I can just see her just trying to hold it back.
No, there was no holding back. As a matter of fact, it flowed freely. Thank you very much, Keith. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, I'm going to give away a dozen cookies right now to Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street in Rupert. Oh, my, what a great restaurant, and what a great bakery for all the cookies and the pies and the different desserts and the wedding cakes. Oh, beautiful wedding cakes. If you're getting married, you better get a hold of Sophie's Chatterbox today, 530 East Street in Rupert. Here's the question. Now, this is an easy one. Now, I'm going to ask you the parent team for the answer, okay? What team, what professional baseball team did Michael Jordan play for when he retired from the NBA Bulls? He was a basketball player, as we all know, the greatest basketball player probably of all time. But what baseball team? Now, I'm not asking you to give me the minor league team name. I'm asking you to give the parent team name, okay? Make it a little easier. What baseball team did Michael Jordan play for in a short stint of trying to play professional baseball? First person to call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, give me a call. What pro baseball team did Michael Jordan play for? And you will win a dozen cookies if you're a first-time winner to Sophie's Chatterbox. Quickly give me a call. I would love to hear from you. While I'm waiting for your call that I, know is coming in, don't forget Airvana is defined as the ultimate level of comfort you'll achieve with the presence of a new Lennox home comfort system. When you buy a new Lennox system at Ramsey Heating and Electric, you can get up to $1,700 in rebates. Airvana is just another great way to make you feel better. So call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459 or visit them online at ramseysonline.com. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm going to guess the Chicago White Sox.
What is your name?
My name is Brent Graves.
Say the last name again, please, sir.
Graves, G-R-A-V as in Victor E-S.
Okay, I got your name down here, Brent. You are the lucky winner. You get a hold of Sophie's Chatterbox and tell them when you're going to be in there to get your cookies. You are right. It was the Chicago White Sox. But I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit. I'm going to give you the cookies, but can you tell me the name of the parent team, or I should say the minor league team that he played for that was the parent team, the Chicago White Sox? What was the name of the minor league team that he played for?
I'm not sure on that one.
I'll tell you what it was.
I'm going to guess the Durham Bulls.
No, it was the Birmingham Barons. All right, well, you're the winner, Brent. Thanks so much for participating. God bless. Enjoy your cookies.
Thanks.
All right, sir.
Bye.
Thank you. That's the right answer, the Chicago White Sox. And Jordan played for their subsidiary AAA club, AAA or AA? I think it was AA. And that was the Birmingham Barons. There you go. There's our winner. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget, too, our friends at Berry Equipment and Rental Sales, Service, and Parts, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley and 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls and up in Nampa. Equipment rentals, retail equipment sales, and I know that every time we have Juan or Eli on the phone, they want me to remind you that right now, this spring of the year, don't forget the Walker mowers. Ooh, you can have fun mowing up a storm with those Walker mowers from Berry Equipment and Rental. Don't forget Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa serving you, Berry Equipment and Rental. Okay, folks, your turn. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Did you or any of you out there happen to catch a little bit of a documentary? They were talking about it last week on the news. And you can bet that the networks like ABC, CBS, and NBC, they're not going to carry any bit of this. But there is a new documentary called The Swamp. And what this documentary did was follow some freshman congressmen and senators in Washington, D.C., as they began their terms in office. And the documentary basically recorded their attitudes and their actions and their response to what happened day by day as being new senators and congressmen. Now, I got to tell you something. I was absolutely shocked when I saw excerpts of this documentary. It was shocking because of the waste of our money and the total lack of regard for our money and the total lack of regard of you and me. And what was really shocking was the attitude and the pressure that was put on these freshman congressmen and senators that they had better go along to get along, and they had better do what they're told. I mean, this was so blatant. One of the congressmen was talking about how he was sitting in his first session, and they were talking about budgets and money for the budgets and the over-exorbitancy of some of those budgets. And one of the budget items that was being discussed was going to pull about $7 billion, that's with a B, folks, $7 billion from the American taxpayers. And this one gentleman was absolutely, he was incensed, and he says, I didn't want to vote for that. He said that was a waste of my constituents and the taxpayers' money. And he says, I raised my hand. And I was going to ask a question as to why. And he was going to tell everybody he was going to vote no, and then he really had the hammer come down on him to go along, to get along, and not create any problems. This whole expose, this whole documentary of The Swamp, is all the more reason why I myself personally have really changed my mind about term limits. And everybody says, well, the ballot box is a term limits. I was one of those people. I was for a long time on this program. And now I'm seeing the light, I think, of making sure that the likes of the Kennedy family, the likes of other big-name families, the likes of John McCain, the likes of so-and-so and so-and-so are terminated because there are term limits. After watching excerpts from that documentary called The Swamp, it was so scary and so wasteful, I think all of us would agree and concur. We absolutely are in trouble. Caller, I'll be right there. Please bear with me just a moment. No, as a matter of fact, I don't have to take a break real quick. Go ahead, you're on the air.
Oh, boy, you're cutting out on me, Zeb. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you great.
And I didn't get to hear the whole thing. I just got part of it. You had a guest the other day that was talking about chips and how the government is watching and regulating us. He mentioned something about guns manufactured since 2012 have a chip in them.
Yes.
What was his name, or what did he have a book or something?
You kind of caught me unaware, and I can get that name for you after I'm off the air. I don't have that book with me right now in front of me, Adrian. I apologize. But yes, many gun makers have put chips in the weapons so that they know exactly where those guns are. And some of the idiocy that's going on with gun control measures right now to hold people responsible, and if a gun's stolen from either you or I, we would be responsible if it was used in the attack or a robbery or worse yet, even a murder. I mean, we've got to be very cognizant of what's going on right now.
Well, the reason I'm telling is I heard that part of it, and I called a few gun dealers that I know, and they hadn't heard of it. So that's why I wanted more information.
Call me after the program, and I'll try to get that name and everything for you, and I'm going to have that gentleman back on the show anyway.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your call. I appreciate it. Thank you. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. The social media, Facebook and Twitter and every other social media is in the tank for complete liberalism. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. But right now, caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
Once again, it comes down to, in my opinion, we're not punishing the criminals. We're making criminals out of law-abiding. And when I say we're not punishing them, what's it to spend 15 years in prison when there's nice bedding, food and everything? I understand it isn't all pleasant in the retreat, but it sure could be a lot harsher. And as far as the death penalty, I really think it needs to be reinstated to the fact so there is a deterrent. And I don't think it should be 20 years on death row. I think it should be you got a week and you're lucky.
Well, the old days, and I'm going to sound harsh on this, and Wheels, we got a little feedback here, but Riley, in the old days of the West, let's go back even to Judge Roy Bean, law west of the Pecos. If a person was found guilty of horse thieving or whatever the crime, maybe even murder, the next sunrise might be the last sunrise that person's ever going to see.
Well, there's some good to that, even though there is some bad, but there's also some good. And the good is a lot of people thought twice about being stupid.
You've got that right there. That's a good way to put it. A lot of people thought twice about being stupid. Very well put.
Anymore, what are you going to get? 20 years on death row, you might die of old age before they get you executed.
Absolutely.
And even then, they're allowed to complain about how it's inhumane when they put these chemicals into their body. Well, what about the nut job that cut the kid up to begin with, or the person up to begin with? What kind of fairness is there? They want to talk about fairness. They're not being fair on either side.
There you go, Riley. I appreciate your viewpoint. I'm glad you called back. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Talk to you later, Mike.
All right, Mike. God bless. Thank you. Yeah, we got a little bit of feedback coming down the pipe in my headsets there, and I had a little trouble understanding him, but thank you, Riley. I appreciate that. We're going to take a little break for the weather, and I'd like your comments about the swamp in Burley. Sorry, Burley, I didn't mean that. I meant the swamp back in Washington, D.C. And then we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about, John Bolton and the Masters tournament this weekend and some other stories. So stay tuned and give me a call. Burley. Why did I say that? I'm sorry. Let's go to the weather forecast right now, brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and they are right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room, and I urge you to call for an appointment today to see Dr. Pickup or Dr. Mitchell. They are the ones that you can really trust your hearing health to. Call them, make an appointment at 312-0957. Caller, I'll be right there, right after this weather forecast. Don't you go away. Here is Gina.
Here is your weather forecast as we kick off another work week, and it's going to be nice for today, but as we make our way through the rest of the week, not so nice. Looks like sunny skies with a high of 58, slightly breezy, winds out of the southwest, right around 10 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly clear with a low of 37. Tomorrow, partly sunny skies, slightly breezy, high of 67, close to 70. Can you believe that? For Tuesday night, 40% chance of rain showers, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 42. Wednesday, partly sunny, high of 62, but by Wednesday night, 60% chance of showers, mostly after midnight with a low of 40. For Thursday, chance of rain showers before noon, possible snow showers as well. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 45. That is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Range.
Thank you very much, Gina. And brought to you by the best, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. They really care, believe me. And if you're having hearing problems, I urge you to call for a hearing screening at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. 312-0957. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Zebediah, is the water trough okay?
Well, now that's the kind of friend you are. You're more concerned about the water trough than you were about me.
Well, I just wondered if it burned up or anything, if with all of the vocabulary that you possess.
Well, now, I've cleaned up my act a little bit, and I will say, though, that I did reach back into the recesses of my mind and pull out some words that I thought were appropriate at the particular moment, none of which I will tell you right now on the air.
Okay, well, Zeb, I just want you to know that you're not the only one that has these kinds of funny accidents, and they're serious as heck when they happen, but afterwards you just about laugh your things off.
Bob, thank you so much for sharing this morning.
Have a good day, Zebediah. I hope everything turns out okay out in the water trough.
All right, my friend, thank you. Oh, boy. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. One story I want to get in here this morning is about our National Guard. 4,000 National Guard troops are headed for the border areas. That's a good thing. I know that Texas and Arizona are complying and with the wishes of President Donald Trump and putting National Guardsmen on the border. And then, of course, you have the other side of that coin with Governor Jerry Brown of California not stepping forward. And we've also heard some of the other governors from other states that are very liberal saying, well, they're not going to support any kind of a border guard. No, they're not going to get involved. They're not going to send any National Guard. You know, this is what makes me so sick and absolutely peeved to the point where here we are, America, and when someone gets in a pinch, somebody gets in a fix, they ring up the hotline to Washington, D.C., and they will cry and say, we need help. We're having these people or this infringe upon our country, and we're having all kinds of encroachment. Come over and help us. And we will send our 18, 19, 20-year-olds over there to live in the sand and fight for another country and another country's borders. But yet our country, the greatest country in the world, is being subjected to liberal gobbledygook that says, oh, we can't do that. Why? We're a caring nation. We can't have borders. We can't have a police force or something like a police force on our borders regulating who comes in. What is the matter with us? You know, I am glad that we have Texas and Arizona National Guardsmen on the border. And I tell you something else. I hope they're not put there just as figureheads. I hope they're not just put there to be visible. I hope that they have loaded weapons and can protect themselves and our country. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
I'm right there with you, sir. And what's this with Montana saying they're not going to send anything down?
Yeah, Montana, Oregon, and a couple of other countries. Oh, no, because they're Democratic governors that don't want to be involved in any support for the Trump administration and, for that matter, curtail any illegals coming into this country because that's a voting force for them in the future.
Well, that's the only people that will vote for them is the ones that they give stuff to.
Yeah, they're starting a new country.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm for them being down there. Yes, they should have firearms to protect themselves, but apparently with the laws the way they are, they cannot be a police force, but they're going to use them for the towers, the air, the visibility to point out, and the medical to point out that here's some people coming in here, and then the Border Patrol, it frees up more agents to do the policing job on the border.
Well, you know, as long as our Border Patrol can, underline that word, can do their job. As long as they can catch these people and not have a catch and release like a fishing excursion, and get these people, get them back into Mexico, and never let them come in here to this United States in an illegal fashion. I don't care how it's done. I don't care what the manipulation is as far as what agency or whatever. But I'm telling you this much, we've got to do something. We are the only country in the world stupid enough to go and help everybody else but not protect our own borders.
Exactly. We should adopt Mexico's illegal alien laws. You go over there, you get thrown in jail.
Yeah, or worse.
Yeah.
Or worse.
And I heard this weekend that President Trump, I kind of like the sound of that, President Trump. I love that. Anyway, I heard this weekend he signed an executive order to stop the catch and release.
Yeah. As it should be. As it should be.
It's going to put a big deterrent on those people coming in now. Oh, shoot, we can't go in and they catch us and give us a court date and then we never show up back up to it.
Doug, I know you agree with me, but I am so fed up with this country through liberalized Democrats that are thinking more about those people that want to come here illegally than they are concerned about the taxpayers and you and me.
Exactly, and they forget they're one of the taxpayers. It costs them also.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're going to be right in the same boat with everybody when they try to bring this country down. They're going to be right there in the boat.
Well, I'm just hoping and praying that this works. And every time a liberal, like whether it's Pelosi or whether it's Feinstein or whether it's Schumer, I don't care, Dick Durbin, anytime they start whining on TV, then I know something is effective.
Exactly. What is it they say? If you're catching flack, you're over the target.
There you go. There you go. Doug, God bless you, man. I got another call, and then I got to get out of here. Thanks.
Okay. Anyway, let's take care of our seniors. Let's do what we can for them.
All right.
God bless.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it. Real quick, caller. I got about 35 seconds. Go ahead.
That's all it will take. I would just like to know if Dan got a picture of you doing that. We would like to sell those so we could raise some money that way.
Bert, you have been a dear friend of mine for years and years, and now I'm starting to have second thoughts as to whether I want to be nice to you anymore.
Well, I just thought I would really love to have that visual fortified with a picture. And, everybody takes these pictures now with their cell phones. I thought maybe Dan got a picture of you there.
No, as a matter of fact, the cell phone was in my pocket, and so far it's still functioning properly, but I'm so glad there was not any recording of the incident, because like I said, if it would have been a live audio and visual recording, I could have been held hostage to Minnie's for some of the language that I used.
I just appreciate your word hurt, Zeb.
Okay.
And you have a good day.
Thanks, Bert. God bless you, man. Thanks. I laugh about it now, but it wasn't real funny when it happened. Hey, don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Roll into spring with a big spring tire sale. All 7 locations serving you with the very best of tires for your car, your pickup, your SUV, horse trailers, boat trailers, whatever you need to drive sensibly and carefully on the best of tires. And they've got them at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with all 7 locations with the best also brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. You be sure and stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline and Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. Nobody better. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Right now, Wheels is going to have this good word for Tommy Ahlquist, and then he's going to take us up to CBS News. Here we go. Good morning, and welcome back. And Wheels, I've got to ask you a quick question. I had bumped one of the little dials on my transmitter here. Did it distort anything this morning? I got it back where it should be right now.
Yeah, no, sir. You sound great.
Okay.
I don't hear any feedback or nothing,
All right.
So we can just keep rolling with it.
All right, I apologize. It was my fault. My big fat elbow hit it. Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you, of course, by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations with a great big spring tire sale going on right now. And don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Talking about great advertisers, Wheels, how about this good word for Western Way Services?
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Way Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Way Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Way Services.
Oh, the spring cleanup, my goodness sakes, I bet you everybody is getting all set. You know, we got to clean this up. We've got to clean that out. We've got to get rid of that. Well, I'll tell you what. Yeah, you'd better call Western Waste right now and get on the route service so they can come by once a week and pick up your garbage. It's gone. It's out of there. Really, really wonderful people. Always at your disposal. You call today, 734-6969. Western Waste Services, absolutely the best. By the way, too, before we go to our guest, I want to remind everybody about Airvana, defined as the ultimate level of comfort you'll achieve with the presence of a new Lennox home comfort system. And when you buy a new Lennox system at Ramsey Heating and Electric, you can get up to $1,700 in rebates. Wow! Airvana is just another way to make you feel better. So call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459 or go to their website, Ramsey'sOnline.com. And last but not least, our thank yous. They have been with us for such a long time. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward, the manager, his family, and his staff serving you. You know, the fact that when there's a passing of a loved one, the grieving families and the time frame, and there's so much to get done, etc., they are there. Hanson Mortuary to serve you always with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please write the number down and call 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert, and Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. I always look forward to Mondays because I get a chance to visit with a very dear friend. I think the most knowledgeable about what's happening with illegal immigration and immigration in general in this country. Frosty Woolridge, good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Zeb. It's always a pleasure to be with you, sir. And
I'm excited about our time together this morning.
Well, I am too, and I want to ask you, President Trump, I say kudos to President Trump for taking the initiative to put the National Guard on our borders. I don't care who's offended. I don't care anything about, those poor babies, they don't like it. I think it's about high time we had a president with some backbone that said, enough. What are your thoughts?
Well, as you know, I have been working on this same subject for over 30 years. And we've been working together on it for over 15 now. And what is, for those of you who read me at newswithviews.com, I have it's called the 21st Century Anchor Babies Coming into America. And one of the things that has been very upsetting to me over the years is that an average of 350,000 pregnant women come over our borders, violate our borders annually, and those women birth their child, and because of some judge 30-something, 40 years ago, giving that child instant citizenship, they're called jackpot babies or anchor babies, and they get full American citizenship. And unfortunately, as those women bring those babies into being here on our turf, our country, on our shore, in violation of our borders, they also get the protection of the 14th Amendment, which is misinterpreted. And unfortunately, as you can see in the four-part series that I have written, three-part series on anchor babies of the 21st century, we're the last country that allows it. Ireland was stopped it about almost 10 years ago. You have to have two parents that are citizens of the country in order to have a child that's going to be an Irish citizen. And Steve King of Iowa, 6, 7, 8 years ago, created the H.R. Bill, that's House of Representatives, H.R. Bill 1968, to stop anchor babies. Because guess what? We're all paying for those anchor babies. Every day you go to work, your tax dollars are paying for 350,000 anchor babies that get free food, they get free housing, they get Section 8 housing, they get schooling K through 12, and their mothers just hang on and of course, enjoy that anchor, and they also get all the benefits of all the welfare, and, of course, free breakfasts and lunches, what aren't free. You and I pay for them. And, of course, what we're doing is just literally bringing up a new poor class, if you will, of people who don't belong here, of children who don't belong here, and, again, we're paying for it. And so I'd like to see more of the National Guard on the border. I would like to see more of these visas not allowed anymore for all these women that are pregnant to come over here. I don't know if you know it or not, Zeb, but there are websites in China, websites in India, websites in Korea, websites, of course, in Mexico, and even in South America, showing women how to come to America to birth their baby. They actually have birthing motels and hotels in Los Angeles. And so give me as many National Guard on the border, have more of these visas stopped with these women that are pregnant, and certainly turn the law around and stop the anchor baby misinterpretation of the 14th Amendment. It was meant for slaves back in 1865. It wasn't meant for women violating our borders and their pregnancies here in our country.
You know, Frosty, I sit here and I scratch my head, and I just wonder about the stupidity of the liberal left in this country and their criticisms of Trump and tightening up our borders. The absolute oxymoron part of the story is that we send troops overseas to lay in sand and foxholes to protect other countries' borders and their citizenry, but we can't protect our own? This is nuts.
Well, it's more than nuts. And as a matter of fact, I got a hold of the New York Times in the past week. It was the Sunday review of the New York Times. And they talked about, there was a guy named Roger Cohen, and he talked about fascism. There's another one by Madeleine Albright, of course, the former Secretary of State. And when you start looking at these different kinds of liberal newspapers, they're slashing up Trump. But in reality, the same thing that's going on in the United States right now is going on in Europe. because the European people are being invaded by the Middle East and by Africa, and they're all fed up with it. And places like Poland are saying no more immigrants. And certainly Austria is doing the same thing. And now you're getting a backlash coming out of Spain. You're certainly getting a backlash in France and certainly the United Kingdom, or what's left of those countries. And so, what happened really is that Trump gave everybody the guts, the gumption, and the true grit to say enough of this. And obviously the liberal left, which would love to see this country destroyed, would love to see everybody on welfare. Of course, that's because what Democrats do best is put people on welfare. They don't put them to work, they put them on welfare. And so that's what you're seeing, and yet Trump has got the heartbeat of America, locked in. And I'll give you an example. The New York Times talked about the Denver Post. And I've tried to publish in the Denver Post for the last 30, 40 years now, and they do everything they can to completely silence voices like mine, which is the undercurrent voice that is now the dominant voice here in America, because we did elect President Trump. We are tired of immigration. We're tired of illegal immigration. We're tired of being flooded. And now the Denver Post is fighting for its life. It's literally gasping. It's on its last fumes. And one of the reasons that the Denver Post is on its last fumes is because it doesn't tell the truth. It has not written any stories about the underground economy in Denver and across Colorado, with somewhere between 300,000 and 400,000 illegal alien migrants who are working under the table, taking jobs away from Coloradans, and continue to send up back again $120 billion worth of monies, cash transfers back to their own countries annually, and that $28 billion goes back to Mexico alone. So, personally, same thing with Michael Hancock, the mayor, who's an open borders and certainly a sanctuary city mayor of Denver, along with Hickenlooper. They never told the story. And that's why the Denver Post, nobody even wants to read it anymore, because they're not going to get the facts. They're not going to get what's happening in reality. What they're getting is the biased and prejudiced and slanted views of the liberal slant that owns the Denver Post. And that's why right now it's literally gasping and running out of fumes to even run on.
Frosty, let me ask you this. One of my concerns that I voiced in the first hour regarding having our National Guard troops on the border is the fact that I feel that if they go down there weaponless or unarmed and, God forbid, something happens, but they should not be put in a position where they're on the border without having any means to protect themselves. What are your thoughts?
That would be, again, just a total insane policy. The people that are coming across the borders, they're led by all these coyotes, the drug runners, and I've been on the border, and they have weaponry. You all might remember Chris Egley. He was I went to where he was killed on the border there at the Oregon Pipe National Park on the border in Arizona, and Chris Egley was killed by drug smugglers. And look at all of the other Border Patrol agents who have been killed by drug smugglers. If you're going to send the National Guard down there, I support it. I wouldn't, they talk about posse comitatus and all that. I say get the United States Army down there, because the United States Army has been protecting the DMZ in South Korea and North Korea now for over 50 years. And nobody gets across that border with the military there and the armed military of the United States Army. We need the same thing on our own borders, because, again, we're taking in, according to the CIS.org and Dr. Stephen Camarata, 500,000 illegal aliens annually coming into this country, either across those borders from Mexico, which, of course, promotes this, but also 30 to 40% of visa overstays. We need to crank it up and tighten it up and stop this kind of violation of our country and our borders.
Frosty, when you visit with other radio stations and you write your weekly publications, etc., what's the response? Even right back there in Denver, are people at all aware how serious this problem is, or do they just kind of come see, come saw? Do they just kind of shine it on and go to their soccer game or Little League baseball game or whatever? Do they really understand how severe this problem is?
Most Americans do not understand how severe this problem is. There's no question about it. They're not even concerned. You and I have been talking about this point blank now for 15 years, and point blank simply doesn't seem to register with the American people because we're still pumping in over 1 million legal immigrants, between 1 million and 1.2 million legal immigrants every year now. That's over 100,000 every month. And we've got schools just crumbling across this country. We've got the consequences of our infrastructure crumbling across the country, and yet the American people let us sit there and fight in Afghanistan for 17 years. We spent I think it's somewhere around $7 trillion to rebuild all those other nations. And the American people just keep electing the same reps and the same senators into the Congress that are doing this to us. And so, for the most part, the American people come see, come saw. That's exactly what's happening. And they just absorb the consequences, whether it's out of their wallet or their cost of living or having to speak 2 different languages, having to press 1 for Spanish and 2 for English, and now 3 for Arabic in Arabic-dominated areas like Detroit and Minneapolis, Minnesota, Fremont, California, and down there in Miami. And they're just simply watching their country be taken over by all of these legal and illegal immigrants and watching our culture be completely displaced by this mass immigration.
Mm-hmm.
And until it gets really ugly in each community, I don't think the American people are going to do much to change it until all of a sudden they no longer have their own community. Their community has become a multicultural diversity quagmire with multiple languages and multiple cultures and so much disenfranchisement that they at that point will have nothing to be able to do anything about it because we will have swallowed the beast, if you will.
And Frosty, the story continues about these Central American immigrants. They call them immigrants. I call them illegal aliens that absolutely want to impose their force and their will by crossing through Mexico, and what they hope for is to cross right our border into the United States and put a thumb in our eye and say, hey, we are here, you're going to have to take care of us. They protested in front of the United States Embassy on Saturday in Mexico City, and I say, great, you protest all you want to, but you're not coming into our country. You're not going to demand that we take care of you.
Well, and that's outstanding, and I've got to hand it to Trump. Stand your ground, because anybody that wants to charge into my house, and this is my house here in Golden, Colorado, there's a law against that. You can't break into my house. Well, guess what? You can't break into my country. I don't care what your story is. I don't care what your pain is. Go solve your own problems in your own country, and you don't get to break into my house, and you certainly don't get to break into my country. And that's what it's all about. And we must stand for our country first and our citizens first, because it's our country, our citizens, our kids, our life, our future, and we cannot continue to be the doormat for legal and illegal immigration at these unbelievable numbers. Again, everybody that hears that, 100,000 legal immigrants every 30 days, and virtually we're the ones that are taking care of them with the unbelievable welfare and all of the consequences that entails as far as our national debt, you name it. We've got to put our foot down, and I certainly want to see this foot putting down with these. I think it's about 1,600 of them are supposedly going to charge our borders.
I don't care if it's even
a wall and a bunch of troops there to make sure they don't get across the borders. Again, like was it 2 years ago when Barack Obama accepted 65,000 kids? Somebody engineered that,
yeah.
And we got to stop that kind of engineering an invasion of our country, period. That's all there is to it.
I don't care if it's 6,000. I don't care if it's 600. I don't care what the numbers are. When someone blatantly says, we're coming, you can't stop us, and there's no way that you're going to deter us from coming into your country, what in the world is the matter with us? I dare you to point a finger at a map and tell me any other country in the world would be talked to and treated in such a manner.
Well, again, as I've stated many times, and I can't state it enough, the third world adds 80 million new babies, net gain, every year, and you all know what happened to Europe in the last 2 years. Somewhere around 2 million immigrants came in, and Merkel allowed it, and certainly several of the other countries allowed it, Denmark, Sweden, and they're all paying an extraordinary price. In the end, we will pay another extraordinary price ourselves. It's just that our population is so much bigger that the price will be paid in the long term, and it will just gather speed, and we will find ourselves losing our culture, our language, our ethos, and our ability to function as a civilization. That's what's coming, whether it comes 10 years from now or 20 years from now. If we keep accepting all these immigrants, and as I think I told you, I have a new book coming out in October, and it's called America's Overpopulation Predicament, Blindsiding Future Generations. It is a book that will leave you just reeling, but it also is a book that will give you the keys to the solution. And the number one solution is we've got to stop all immigration into the United States, other than just miscellaneous, somebody wants to marry somebody from out of this country, then sure. But we cannot continue to accept mass immigration to America if we hope to survive the 21st century.
Real quick, I've only got a minute and a half left in this segment, Frosty, but the atrocities that were committed over in Syria by Assad of dropping chemical weapons on his own people and those children being burned and killed with chemical weapons. Obama caused this by a do-nothing policy, and I think Donald Trump would be very justified this morning in trying to make plans to take Assad out. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm a Thomas Jefferson, President Thomas Jefferson kind of guy. There is, in the Muslim world, more atrocities, more killings, more murders than anyone has ever imagined. Violence is a part of what Muslims do to each other. And personally, we should be out of Afghanistan, out of Iraq, out of Yemen, out of Syria. Let them do what they're going to do, because we can step in there and we can do what we can do, but they will continue to do that kind of violence to themselves no matter what. And unless we have to be the policemen of the world, I know it's terrible, but I say just get the heck out of there and take care of ourselves in our own country. We've got enough problems. If they could send a drone in there and take Assad out, that'd be great, but there's going to be another Assad. There will be another Saddam Hussein. There will be another Khomeini. There will be another Muslim cleric that will absolutely create the same kind of horrors and terrors as Assad's doing. So that would be my side of that thought on that thing, Jeff.
Well, and that's why I wanted to get your opinion, Frosty. I always appreciate having you on the program. Our time goes way too fast. God bless you, and we'll look forward to next Monday. Thank you so much.
And God bless and thank you, Zeb.
All right, buddy. Take care. Frosty Woldridge, Golden, Colorado, a dear, dear friend, and he's been on this program for many, many years. Appreciate him. Don't forget our friends over to Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. Hello, Dr. Bill and the whole crew. I'll tell you what, now's the time. Spay and neuter your cats, dogs, etc. Please, please, let's cut down on the population and make sure the ones we have are the ones that get cared for. And don't forget, too, proper identification of all your pets. Talk to Ark Animal about what you need to do. Ark Animal Hospital in Heyburn, and the number to call, 678-1177. They do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. A mixed animal practice, meaning big or small, they love them all, they take care of them all at Ark Animal Hospital. Wheels over at the station. Let's have that good word for Bob Nonini running for lieutenant governor.
Bob Nonini, candidate for lieutenant governor, a principled conservative, successful small business owner, legislator, and leader in Idaho. Bob Nonini has earned a 100% rating from the American Conservative Union and received an A+ rating from the National Rifle Association. Bob Nonini, Idaho roots, conservative values, proven results.
Hi, I'm Bob Nonini, and I'm passionate about becoming your next lieutenant governor. Being an Idaho native, I grew up understanding the values of hard work and dedication. Growing our economy means providing quality, affordable health care to everyone. I opposed Obamacare because I know that here in Idaho, we can and will do better. Competition and transparency for consumers is key to keeping our health care costs low. Idaho needs strong leaders who allow their faith, experience, and integrity to do what is necessary in creating a better life for our residents. Experience matters. Experience counts. The choice is clear. Idaho needs Nonini on May 15th.
Paid for by the committee to elect Bob Nonini for Lieutenant Governor. R. Scott Hogue, Treasurer.
Thank you very much. And don't forget to tomorrow at 9:30, our program with the lovely Miss Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. If you've got questions about gardening and flowers and landscaping and all that, you'd better tune in, and we'll have that program celebrating 21 years in business. Vicky's Country Gardens, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. And that program with Miss Vicky is on tomorrow at 9:30. Also want to remind you about our friends at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Hello, Jeff and the whole crew at 459 Overland in Burley. They have all the furniture. Are you going to kind of spruce up for springtime? Well, they've got all the sofas and the love seats and the recliners. Everything you need right there at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. And great big, huge new shipments of carpeting and luxury vinyl planks. All of this, and they're ready to serve you. Stop in today at the best. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. 459 Overland in Burley, serving you. And real quick, we also want to remind everyone about our friends at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. If you don't have a four-wheeler and you're going, gee willikers, it'd be fun to go with my friends up in the hills and go through the trails and everything, well, then you better get in there. They've got a showroom just jam-packed filled with four-wheelers and four side-by-sides. They've got everything over there, and they've got all the accessories necessary. They're located at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, and they're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. And if you do have a four-wheeler, you better get it serviced so you're ready to go this spring, and they've got the best doggone service department around. At Let's Ride, absolutely where the fun is sold. Right now, we're going to go to the phone line, and I am very honored to have this gentleman back on our program again. He's been here many, many times in the past, and of course, he is a great, great author, especially with his trilogy called The Brotherhood of the Red Nile. Good morning, Dan Perkins. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. How are you, Zeb?
I'm really good, Dan. First of all, how are your books going? I know you've written some outstanding books. Anything else in the mix?
I am working on, excuse me one second there. I'm working on a new book. I don't know if it's half done or not because you never know when you start writing, but it's going to be my first foray into historical fiction. And the title of the book is called Abraham Lincoln and the Second Assassin.
Ooh.
And if your audience were to pick up my newest book, Ted Baker in Terrorist Gold, at the end of the book is the first chapter in the new Lincoln book.
Wow. Now, what was the thought process? And Wheels over at the station, I'm getting way too much feedback, please. What was the thought process about going back into the 1860s regarding Abraham Lincoln?
Well, I have been a student of the American Civil War for decades, and I thought that Lincoln was both a dramatic character, a tragic character,
a man of great integrity, who was not highly learned. And I've always been fascinated with him. I've read everything I get my hands on, his life and his history, and some of it true and some of it non-true. And I just, when I as you know, I started out writing thrillers, and then I started writing children's books. And the last one is the memory book, which is doing very well. Then I brought out Terrorist Gold, which is a continuation of the trilogy, because people were really upset with me that I couldn't leave him there. But then I decided I wanted to take my chances and see if I could do something different. As a writer, we want to challenge ourselves. So I never really considered historical fiction. And I said, since Lincoln and the Civil War was my passion, has been for decades, I need to write about that. But at the same time, I'm also thinking about the next novel after that, which will go back to our terrorist friends. It's called Russian Escape. And then after that, I'm thinking about going into a new genre for me, and that would be romance. And I'm working on a storyline about two young people who are in San Diego, California in 1940. She's an Army nurse. He's an Army Air Corps pilot. They both get reassigned to Schofield Barracks in Hawaii, and they get married on December the 1st, 1941. And on their honeymoon, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, and they know they have to leave their honeymoon and go back to the hospital and to the air base. And it's a story about what happens to them.
Oh, my goodness. I'm so glad that you brought up about the Civil War, Dan, and I want to ask you this. What are your thoughts as a writer and also a student of what's happening politically right now in regards to the absolute tearing down of the Southern monuments and a part of our history? What are your thoughts about this?
That's a great question, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to address that. We as individuals and we as a nation have evolved since our founding days. And we've made some mistakes, and we've done some wonderful things for not only our people, but for the rest of the world. But our past helps define us who we are today and where we will be in our future. If you try and rewrite history by taking out the Civil War, what was going on in this country relative to slavery, you are discounting a very important part of how we grew as a nation. And to say that those events didn't take place by taking down the monuments is to say, I've often asked the question, Zeb, if we're not going to have the Civil War monuments around, what are we going to teach in the classroom about a period of time where 650,000 Americans killed Americans in this 4-year-long war, and it was a fight for what it was we are going to be. And Lincoln made one of his most famous quotes. He said, "A house divided against itself can never stand." And he saw the upheaval that caused the Civil War is that one part of the country cannot be forever free and the other part of the country be forever slave. And so that the Civil War was really part of the definition process of who we are as a country and how we evolve. Those people who gave their lives and fought for what they believed, if there's a monument that's been put up to those people, they're a part of our history. Whether we celebrate them or not, we should be aware of who these people were, the commitment they had to what they believed in, and what was wrong with what they had to do. But if we tear it all down, how do we teach our children where they came from?
You know, and Dan, as you well are aware, there has been recent talks about taking down statues for Thomas Jefferson on the campus of Hofstra University. There's been other talks about Abraham Lincoln, and there have been others of the millennial groups that have said, well, we can't even stand to have George Washington because of his adherence at that time in history to slaves and being a slave owner. Where does it stop, Dan? It's got to stop someplace because they're desecrating everything this country stands on.
Very, very, very keen observation. I commend you for that. Where does it stop? It stops when people like me and you and millions of other people say to these millennials, enough. Your past, like it or not, is your past. Ignoring it doesn't change it. Tearing down a monument doesn't change what happened. And learn, young people, from our experience. Learn from the past. Learn to make better decisions. But the idea of you could put your head in the sand and ignore what happened by tearing down a monument to Robert E. Lee or to George Washington or FDR or whoever you want to talk about because you don't like their political ideology, it's very difficult, and this is the one thing they're having a difficult time dealing with. It is difficult for them to understand that you cannot measure the past based on today's standards. Just like 100 years from now, people will be looking at us and them as part of our past as our nation, and they shouldn't judge us by what they do 100 years from now. We should learn and help ourselves understand how it ultimately defined the best place in the world to live.
You know, Dan, as a foreign policy expert, I want to change gears a little bit here and go over to the Middle East. And I've got to ask you, I saw over the weekend many of the pictures, many of the videotapes, etc., of the what happenings in Syria with Assad chemical bombing his own public and little children being burned and killed. What are your thoughts about whether we, the United States, should do a very disruptive action against Assad, or should we stay out of it? What are your thoughts?
Good question. I have 9 interviews today on this subject matter, so I think you're number 3. So I hope I have a voice at the end of the day. What I think is that we had just about a year ago, you may recall, where he used gas on his people, and Mr. Trump decided to retaliate using Tomahawks and cruise missiles. He didn't put any men on the ground. He simply used those, was it 50 or 60 missiles to try and degrade part of his infrastructure. But what's more important than the physical damage that was done was that Mr. Trump said, if you do it again, there will be serious consequences. Now, I know that the Russians denied over the weekend that it was not gas. But I also know that the UN observers who were there are seeing the implication of a chlorine gas. Most people don't know, Zeb, that because of the constant bombardment and attack by the Assad government to these people, many of them have taken refuge in the basements of buildings. The gas that was supposedly used is a heavy gas, so that it went down into the basements, I think by design, to try and kill people hiding out in the basement. I've seen pictures, as you had, of women and children. I think the last number I saw was 70 people. The Russians came out on Saturday, excuse me, that no, there was no biological or chemical weapon being used. The UN doesn't necessarily agree with the Russians. But I think what's important, what is Mr. Trump going to do?
Yeah.
Is this going to turn out and be another Obama red line in the sand? And if he doesn't do anything about it, his credibility in the Middle East will be dramatically reduced. And other organizations will be empowered now to become more aggressive because it looks like Mr. Trump is tired of dealing with the Middle East and he just wants to get out.
Absolutely.
Now, what concerns me, sir, is that that's a high-risk maneuver. Now, I did read this morning that there have been discussions between the United States and France and England about some kind of a retaliation. But remember, one of the things we learned, and it's not on anywhere that I've read, maybe you've seen it, Zeb, but I haven't seen it. Remember that we learned after the last attack a year ago that the Obama administration, who had negotiated with Assad and the Russians to remove all chemical weapons from Syria, did in fact not do that. And we found out after the fact that in fact there are still a stockpile of biological and chemical weapons in Syria and that the Russians never took them away.
Right.
So the material that they used over this past week.
First modeling and then laughing. When the next call came on, Mrs. Forrester took Lonnie's hand and started kicking my other hand with Lonnie's face.
We have lost the connection wheels with Dan Perkins. Is he still there?
Give me 1 second.
1 second, all right. And caller, I know we have a caller waiting, but all of a sudden the connection went south on us, and so I want to make sure that we get Dan back on our program. All of a sudden it did leave, and I certainly hope we haven't lost it entirely. Wheels, is he on the phone?
Yes, sir, he still is.
All right, we had a little bit of a blip, and all of a sudden Dan disappeared. Dan, finish your point about the weapons over in Syria, please.
Yeah, I was just saying that when we bombed them last year, we found out that, in fact, the Obama administration, who had negotiated with the Russians to remove all of the chemical and biological weapons out of Syria, in fact, did not do that. And later, the Obama administration, people admitted that they did not get all of the stuff out. So he had the stockpile. We don't know whether he was using a facility to construct this new material or not. We don't know for sure. But my point is, Mr. Trump said, you do it again, there'll be significant consequences. And I thought at the time and wrote over a year ago, if they use it again, the next thing to do is to take out his entire Air Force.
Absolutely.
Destroy his Air Force. But I don't know what he's going to do. The longer he waits to do something, the more emboldened they will become. Keep in mind, Zeb, that Assad is not the first Arab leader to use chemical and biological weapons on their own people.
That's true.
Saddam Hussein used it against the Sunnis, against the Kurds, and killed hundreds of thousands of Iranians, or Iraqis. So he used it against his own people.
Absolutely.
Over 300,000 of his own people using chemical weapons. So there is a precedent there, and I'm concerned. I don't know what it is about that particular what's in the water over there that makes them want to use these chemical weapons, but they sure want to do it, and we have to do something to stop it.
Absolutely. I think we have a caller with a quick question. Caller, go ahead, please. You're on the air. Your patience is appreciated. Go ahead.
Okay, Zeb. This is Mike. I just wanted to say, you won't hear it on any news outlets or anything else, but as you know, I'm a studier of American history and our founding fathers and the Civil War and everything else. Today, April 9th, 1865, was the day that Lee surrendered to Grant at Appomattox, effectively ending the Civil War on this date in 1865. And you won't hear it, you know, I mean, I love our history and all those things, and as you know, I shed my blood on foreign soil for this country. And I just wanted to remind your caller, or the man you're interviewing, of that fact.
I appreciate that very much, Mike. And Dan, respond to the caller, please.
Well, I think it's a matter of if we don't teach our children history. But my greatest concern, Zeb, is that the history books that the children are being taught are editing out things that are, quote, not politically correct.
Right.
But, we learn more from our mistakes than we do from our successes. And we should learn and then teach our children about what happened over the history of this country and what sacrifices a lot of people made to keep this country free and to give them the ability to say whatever they want to say. But if we continue to revise our history and take it apart and don't talk about it, we're losing what is really important that makes us different as Americans.
Absolutely.
And, understanding our history, where we came from, what the founding fathers were trying to do, what they succeeded in doing, the cost that was paid in the First World War and the Second World War to keep us free. Those things are very important to be taught to our children, and I'm afraid they're moving away very quickly.
Absolutely. Dan, I really appreciate your being on the program, and I wish you continued success with all of your writing, especially the Brotherhood of the Red Nile trilogy and all of your knowledge on foreign policy. Dan Perkins, thank you for being on the program this morning.
Thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you, sir. One of my favorite guests, quite frankly, and I'm very, very honored to have him on the show, and that, of course, is Dan Perkins. And I just look forward to his insight because he has worked with all these different facets of government, and his book about the Brotherhood of the Red Nile trilogy, A Terrorist Perspective, is absolutely excellent and so well written. Thank you very much, Dan Perkins. We've got to get a forecast on here, and the weather brought to you this hour by Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. Phillips Oaks. I'm going to do that over again too. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. It's a Monday. Don't forget the best of tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, and of course bookkeeping services, retirement planning, all of this and so much more. And they are busy now. I talked to Leiden Crane the other day. Woo, they're about camping out in their office every day getting ready for tax time. They are there to serve you, and they will serve you, your family, and your business. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Right now, here's the weather.
Here is your weather forecast as we kick off another work week, and it's going to be nice for today, but as we make our way through the rest of the week, not so nice. Looks like sunny skies with a high of 58, slightly breezy, winds out of the southwest, right around 10 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly clear with a low of 37. Tomorrow, partly sunny skies, slightly breezy, high of 67, close to 70. Can you believe that? For Tuesday night, 40% chance of rain showers, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 42. Wednesday, partly sunny, high of 62, but by Wednesday night, 60% chance of showers, mostly after midnight with a low of 40. For Thursday, chance of rain showers before noon, possible snow showers as well. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 45. That is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Range.
And thank you very much, Gina. She does a great job on that weather, and I appreciate all of her help. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. As I said, I talked to Leiden Crane the other day, and he said, man, they are really burning the midnight oil, getting everything done for tax time, and they are the best at what they do. They can help people starting a business or expanding a business and hiring more employees. They know. And they've been there and done that sort of thing, and they can give you the best of information. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert, bringing you the weather. Thank you very much. I want to say thank you to all the calls that are coming in and people with good questions. Next hour, we have Fred Snook talking about the Salmon Select Horse Sale, Idaho's premier horse sale. That's going to be coming up at 10:06 this morning. And then we're going to be talking to Danielle Van. She's an author of the book called The Whiz Bang Machine, and she is really concerned as to the lower status of education across the board in this country, and she's going to be talking about that, so don't go away. Also want to remind you folks about our dear friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. When you think about life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more, Cameron and Siemens is there to serve you. Absolutely. They're dedicated and responsive to your needs and very accessible. All you need to do is make a call to 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424, Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert, serving you. Give them a call today. A couple of public service notes here real quick. I wanted to remind everybody, let's see, Rupert United Methodist Church, 605 H Street in Rupert. They're going to be having their annual yard sale at that church held on Saturday, May 2nd, and donations are welcome. And if you'd like any more information about that yard sale, call them at 436-3354 at the Rupert United Methodist Church, 605 H Street in Rupert. Wow, we're about ready to send it back over to our main studios, and Wheels is going to have a great word for Tommy Ahlquist, and then he's going to take us up to CBS News. Wheels, it's in your hands. Oh, good morning. Good morning. The sun is shining and there's blue sky. My goodness, there's hope we might get spring after all. Good morning to you, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, they've got a great big spring tire sale going on right now. And also our thanks go out to some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, and they are helping you get back to being you. We're going to have our guest on the segment in just a moment, but I want to remind everybody, too, about Airvana, defined as the ultimate level of comfort that you'll achieve with the presence of a new Lennox home comfort system. Now, when you buy a new Lennox home comfort system at Ramsey Heating and Electric, you can get up to $1,700 in rebates. Airvana is just another way to make you feel better, so call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459 or visit them on the website ramseysonline.com. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, a man that has really got a busy week ahead of him, and that, of course, is the coordinator and the man that puts it all together of the Salmon Select Horse Sale and Mule Sale, Fred Snook up in Salmon. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Well, great, Zeb. How you doing down there?
Not too bad. I'll bet you're just kind of counting the hours because it's not that far away, is it?
We are. It's just, in fact, 2 hours until the big tent arrived. It left Jackson Hole this morning at 6:15, and the main pass is closed. They're coming through Palisades, but we got 2 big tents rolling in here in a couple hours, and so we'll spend the afternoon getting those all set up there at the fairgrounds, and then we'll start getting all the bleachers and seating in there and set the sale ring up, and we'll be ready to go.
Well, now, this is called, and it is, Idaho's premier horse sale. Give us a little background and a little history on this Salmon Select Horse and Mule Sale. Kind of give us a thumbnail sketch as to how it got to be so good over the many years.
Started in 1971. Mom and Dad had about 100 registered horses then, and I decided to have a sale, and there were about 30 in there. They were all from our ranch, the Diamond F, with a few from Walter Ed Jones, and the high-selling horse was $640. all the horses brought 8,500. Then we missed a year. Then in '73, and ever since, then we started some neighbors. The Whitworths got in, and Joanne Carroll, and Dr. Maharis from the Idaho Falls area. Few friends started adding, and then we finally got up to sales in the 60,000s. And then after about 20 years, we had a big jump and got up to right at 200,000.
Wow.
By then we got up to about 80 horses, and eventually to 100, and now we limit to 130. And meanwhile, sales then jumped from the 200 to the 300, and last year was 722,000.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
We've gone from 8,500 to 700.
Well, now, Fred,
over the years, and now we have, this year we'll have horses, we limit the number, and it's a membership sale, but we have horses coming from Texas and Indiana and Colorado, Montana, a lot of Wyoming horses, Nevada, Utah, California. So, and we'll sell horses nationwide. We've had quite a few calls the last few days from Ohio and Indiana, and there's always a fellow comes out that's bought quite a few from Pennsylvania.
Wow.
And this year we're getting quite a few calls from I-25 corridor of from Denver to Albuquerque.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a nationwide, primarily the West, and primarily most of the horses go about 300-mile radius of salmon, from about Salt Lake to Spokane to Billings to Eastern Oregon.
Okay. Now,
that's the background, Zeb.
Well, let me ask.
Of the 130, there will be 65 different people bring horses to the sale.
I see.
And meanwhile, on the mules, John Burns, retired Forest Service man here, one day said, well, what about a mule sale? And so we started that 19 years ago, and the mules, that first sale, there were 22. And they brought 34,000. And last year we had right at 50, and they brought 272,000.
Oh, so, my goodness. Wow.
We limit the mules to right at 60. This year we fudged a little. I think we're up to about 66 or 7 in there. And again, we have mules come from Arkansas and California and Arizona, but again, most of them are Idaho, Washington, Montana, and Oregon. So the mule sale obviously has had that same big growth.
Absolutely. Now give us kind of a breakdown quickly, if you would, Fred. Thursday schedule, Friday schedule, and then Saturday schedule, so that everybody can be aware of what they need to be at Salmon for.
Okay. So Thursday we have welcome to the sale, a big get-together, the Fish and Game Outfitters and Guides put that on. They have a big dinner, and we'll have Muzzy Brawn, some live music. That's all at the fairgrounds from 5 to 10. Thursday afternoon, we have a ride-through of some of the sale animals and locals here, right up and down Main Street. That's at 1. All the mules and most of the horses are there for inspection. Then on Friday morning, the activities really kick off with the ranch horse competition. I think there's over 60 horses involved in that. That's from basically 11 till 3. On the mule side, they have mounted shooting at 9. The mule best of the pen contest that really sorts out about the best mules, that's at 10. Then the mule trail competition is at 1:30. And the big Jeff Allen Memorial Mule Race, quite an event, that's at 4 o'clock. Then the sale itself starts at 6, usually gets over right at 9. Then Saturday morning we come back with open performance where all the sale horses show off for you. Then a trail competition at 10, and then the rope horses at 11. And then the sale itself, the 46th annual Kicks off at 1. That usually ends between 6 and 6:30.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then, for people, I had a couple of calls last week after you were on the program, Fred, and they said, holy smokes, is it too late to try to make arrangements to come up in that area? Are there motels available? And a lot of people had questions I couldn't answer, and I thought I'd ask you about that this morning.
Sure. All the motels are listed on our website. Our website is salmonselectsale.com. All one word, Salmon Select Sale. Nothing horse or mule, just salmonselectsale.com. Yes, most of the motels are full. I understand there's still some internet. They can go on the internet, and there's other private facilities. But we have a big 10-acre field that is open for camping, and that's free, and it's right at the fairgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
So there's usually between 500 and 1,000 people, just camp there at the fairgrounds.
Wow. Well, it sounds like it's really going to be a happening. And one thing I don't think you mentioned, but the vendors. You're going to have a lot of Western memorabilia up there and a lot of different vendors. Tell us a little bit about that.
A lot of unique things. There's about 50, and they all come from across the West. And it isn't the trinkets. It's the real stuff, and everybody brings their handmade, unique things here to Salmon. And so, yeah, there's a lot of people that obviously come to the sale that aren't coming to buy a horse. They're just coming. It's more of a fair expo atmosphere, and yeah, there's a lot to see and do.
Oh, I tell you what. And if they need information on the horses or the mules, what do they do? Do they call your office, or do they go online? Give us that.
Right now, that would be good to call that 208-756-2125. Or a backup number is 208-768-7286. Again, that second number, 208-768-7286. And we do have online bidding this year, the first ever. When they go to our main website, it'll tell them how to get signed up if they wanted to bid online.
All right. Well, man, I tell you what, you have been so great to work with over the many years with the Salmon Select Horse and Mule Sale at the Lemhi County Fairgrounds in Salmon. This is the big week, and they're ready for everybody up there at Salmon. Fred, God bless you, man, and have a wonderful sale.
Zeb, and good luck to you folks down there, and travel safe, and we hope you can make it up.
All right, my friend. God bless you, and thank you again. All righty. Fred Snook, a great guy. I mean, I've had a chance to visit with him on this sale now, I think, 8-9 years, and does a super job. And he's also a judge up there in that neck of the woods. So it's a real treat to have him on the program this morning. Thank you very much on behalf of that great big Salmon Select Horse and Mule Sale at the Lemhi County Fairgrounds this week in Salmon. Don't you miss it. I've got time for a couple of calls. Give me a jingle on the landline, if you would, please. I know we had some callers last hour we didn't have time to get in, so give me a call back. Want to also remember and remind you about our dear friends that sponsor a segment on Thursdays called Cassia County School Days. Our thanks go out to A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. And really, what nice people, and it's a family store. I mean, they've got all kinds of spring clothing there. Boy, now's the time to look sharp and be sharp for the spring and summer. And they've got all the baby clothing and the baby furniture and all the items for birthday presents. And they've also got all the Cherokee scrubs. I urge you to get in there today. A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And the other sponsor of Cassia County School Days is Ambulatory Surgery Center, located at 1344 Highland in Burley. The number to call and find out more about how they can save you money on outpatient surgeries, 677-8888. That number again, 677-8888. The very best of doctors, the very best of helping you and saving you money on your outpatient surgeries. Ambulatory Surgery Center in Burley, along with A Child's World, bringing you School Days in Cassia County. Give us a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd like to hear from you. I want to get your attitude on this right away this morning. There are groups around the country called the International Dark Sky Association. And they are bent on making basically the night very, very dark with hardly any lights whatsoever. And what are your thoughts on this? I personally, being in the livestock business, and have been for many, many years, curtailing most of my activities in the last couple of years, and now I'm down to just very few animals. But the lights, whether it's a dairy, whether it's a feedlot, whether it's your own personal property for maybe 3 horses and some rope and steers, whatever you have, I don't like the idea of this group trying to come together and force and coerce what they call preserving the nighttime sky. They want a lights-out attitude. They don't want any lights. They want everything regulated as far as the lighting that you can have or the amount of lights that can be on. What are your thoughts about this? I'm absolutely against this. And the pristinity of what they want with a total dark sky, to me, is just going to be another enabler, if you will, to increase and, like I said, enable crime to come in and basically have a field day. So let me ask you, the question is, what are your thoughts about this International Dark Sky Association and what they're trying to do as far as create almost total darkness? Give me your calls, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Quickly, give me a jingle on the landline. I would love to hear from you. While I'm waiting for your call, I hope it's coming in. I need to get this on one more time because it absolutely amazed a lot of people when I said that Kelton Hatch was going to be teaching a college credit course. Yes, he is. And it's going to be this next weekend. If you haven't signed up, I think there is still time. It's called Wild About Fishing. And it's a workshop that is going to be held at the Jerome Department of the Idaho Fish and Game. And it's going to be on Friday afternoon and Saturday, this coming April 13th and 14th. And it is a college credit course. So Kelton Hatch is going to be the teacher, the professor. And I urge you to call 324-4359. That number again, 324-4359 for the Idaho Fish and Game Department. And get signed up for that fishing course that's going to be this coming weekend. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Wheels, you're a fisherman, aren't you?
Am I a fisherman?
Yeah, I thought you said one time you loved to go fishing.
To be honest, I do love going fishing. To be honest, you know this already, but I'm going to take a little time off of work to go to the coast with my parents since my mom's going on a business trip. And I talked to her about that last night. I told her, well, if we're going to be doing anything, I kind of want to go fishing over in Oregon.
Are you going to go deep sea fishing? Are you going to go out on the ocean?
No.
Oh.
No, that, deep sea fishing has always sounded interesting, but then I see the turnouts sometimes, and I'm just like, I'm better off just on land where 9 times out of 10 I'm not going to get eaten by a shark.
I like your attitude. No, but now, have you ever fished in the ocean for anything like some of the big catches that are out there? Have you ever done that, or have you just been basically fishing around here?
No, truth be told, I've just been fishing around here. When me and my grandpa used to watch a lot of fishing stuff on TV, and I used to watch, like what all the other guys used to call, like, the pro fishers.
Oh.
And, it was one of those things where, I'd love to catch a 5 to 8 pound bass.
All right, now, don't lie to me and don't give me any of this fishology. I want the truth. What's the biggest fish that you have ever caught? Come on, be honest now.
I'm trying to think of how long a full-grown trout gets.
Well, it varies, but
I would say that, I don't know, I would say that I've probably had a good-sized trout. I've never, I haven't caught anything better than that, like a salmon or a bass.
Okay.
But as far as trout, I've caught quite a few big trout.
Well, I tell you what, one of these days we're going to meet, hopefully sometime this spring or summer, we'll meet someplace and we'll fish together and we'll kind of give the fisherman's lies about the one that got away and everything. So we'll do that sometime this summer.
Well, that sounds great.
Okay.
Maybe I'll call you up or something, and you and me and Deanne can get that arranged.
All right. Well, listen, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I got to admit, I used to do a lot of fishing back in the Midwest, and I used to fish a lot on the Great Lakes, Lake Michigan, and boy, oh boy, I mean, we've caught a lot of walleye. I've caught some northern pike. I have absolutely not enjoyed being on the Great Lakes during a major summer storm, and I grew up fishing back in that neck of the woods, and so it's a little bit different than right here and some of the lakes that we have in this area. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so back in your hometown, did you guys do anything as far as, instead of taking a boat, you just went out and fly fished or something like that?
Oh, yeah. That's available back there too, but I never was proficient at fly fishing. I didn't really care for it that much. And we did a lot of bank fishing, but a lot of it back there in that country there's a lot of lakes. There are uncountable lakes that you can go to and put a boat in the water and get out there. There's a lot of good fishing for all different varieties of fish, but until you've really hooked a northern pike or something of that type, boy, it gets a little wild and western with them on the end of that line.
I could only imagine. I haven't caught a wild pike yet or anything.
And you got to be careful when you get them in the boat, buddy. You got to be careful of them. They can be a little wicked and a little dangerous.
Do they flop around a lot?
Do I walk on crutches? Okay. Listen, in just a moment, we're going to get ready to send it back over to you with more over at the main studio. But I want to remind everybody, tomorrow on the program, Dr. History is going to be on. And then also at 9:30, I've got to get this in real quick. If you have any questions about gardening, and I mean, I don't care what the question is. What should I be planting right now? What about the garden preparation? What about our flowers? Anything. Get those to me so I can talk to Miss Vicki about them tomorrow. I neglected to say this earlier, that send those to Zeb at the Ranch at hotmail.com. Zeb at the Ranch at hotmail.com. Now, the first 4 words, small case, Zeb at the ranch, and then the @ sign, hotmail.com, and I'll ask your questions of the lovely Miss Vicki at 9:30 tomorrow morning on Vicki's Country Gardens segment, so don't miss that. And then also Dr. History coming up for tomorrow. We are going to have with us in the next segment, we're going to have a lady by the name of Danielle Van, and she's going to be talking about literally how students are not learning how to read, and she has done some studies. 44%, listen to this, 44% of our nation's adults are reading and writing at 4th grade levels. That's coming up in the next hour, so don't miss that. Real quick, I want to remind you, if you need any fencing done and you need an arena built, whatever the case might be, I urge you to call Joe Bridges and Justin Archer. They are absolutely the best at what they do. Bridges Construction Company, you call them at 539-3578 or 490-1816. Absolutely the best. They do the job, and they do it extremely well. Remember that name, Bridges Construction Company, with Joe Bridges and Justin Archer serving you. That one number again, 490-1816. You call them today. They are really, really talented. Okay, we're going to send it back over to Wheels right now at our main studio, and then be back in just a few minutes with Danielle Van. Right here on Zeb at the Ranch. Wheels, it is all yours.
And And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
And a good morning, and I hope your day on a Monday, April 9th, is going very, very well. Anytime we can look out the window and see the blue sky and the sunshine, that is fantastic. Hey, good morning to everybody, and right now we're going to go with our guest that is an internationally award-winning author and former television personality and national literacy advocate. And we say good morning to Danielle Van. How are you, Danielle? Good morning to you.
Good morning. I'm great. How are you?
Well, just peachy until I read some of the information that was on your info sheets that 44% of our nation's adults are reading and writing at a fourth grade level. That is more than scary.
It is. It is. It's just seeming to get worse, but lots of attention is being called right now to our educational system around the United States, and that is a very good thing.
Okay, when you say it's a very good thing, though, but how did we get so poor in being educated, not only in how to converse with our fellow man, but reading and writing? I mean, taking away the cursive and everything. What's going on here? Why did this all start?
Well, you know, if we look back, and we can really narrow it down to about 20 years ago, when we really started shifting how we were teaching our youth. And over the past, say, 10 years, what has happened is we've seen a big push to testing, teaching for testing. And what happens is we're teaching our kids just for the time being, meaning we're giving them the skill for a test and not really for long-term comprehension. We've taken away, like you said, cursive writing. Even teaching our youngest students the skill of handwriting is really kind of done away at this point. And so we're really seeing a downfall when it comes to reading and writing because we've taken the basics out of our school systems and we're starting to teach simply just for those standardized tests.
You know, let's talk about handwriting for a little bit. And I will tell you right now, Danielle, there is not a person in the world that I think has sloppier penmanship than I do. But at least I can still write cursive, and I know what I'm writing, and I know what I'm saying. But what about writing itself and handwriting? Why in this world all of a sudden did that go by the wayside? I don't understand how you could live without knowing how to do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of it has to do with the technology we put into our classrooms. So even, I think we talked about this before, is that most children struggle to hold a pencil at this point because they're using their finger on the iPhones and the iPads and the Chromebooks that are in our classroom now. And so that simple skill of just being able to hold a pencil or to formulate, you know, the up and down of a letter is really only being done by the touch of their finger, which then cannot translate onto a piece of paper. It has a major downward slide when we come to, you know, movement as far as our literacy skills, because we're just not teaching them how to do it the way that you and I learned.
What in the world are they going to do when they have to sign a check or perhaps sign a contract or whatever the case might be? How bad really is the situation, or am I making too much out of it?
No, you aren't making too much out of it at all. In fact, if you go to any bank across the United States, they'll tell you that they're even accepting checks at this point when with just a block signature, you know, not an actual cursive signature, because our youth doesn't know how to do it. They're not teaching it in schools now. It's sort of an old thing. We took Latin out how many years ago? This is sort of one of those things that comes also with the idea that, you know, even mobilized banking, we're doing all these things with technology at the risk of not knowing how to do our basic skills. So when you're talking about just those simple things, those simple changes in our society, what we call as an advancement, it's really hindering how we move forward with just basic skills.
Now, when you say we've lost a lot of these basic skills, is it too late to stop the bus and turn it around? Or how do we reinvent the wheel and bring it back?
Well, I don't think at all that we're too far gone. I think that we have to really step in and our teachers want to be able to teach the basics. That's, definitely being shown across our nation right now. They want to slow down. They don't want to have to teach their kids on just the Chromebooks or just the iPads. They're realizing that we're really losing ground on the basics. And a lot of school districts are trying to take a step back and say, okay, maybe our kids don't need to know how to read when they come into kindergarten. The other part of it is there are 34 states in our nation that do not require kindergarten. We have lots of students going into first grade as their first time coming into the school system. That also is a problem. But our basic teachers are saying, okay, we have to slow down. They have to know how to make an M, the slope. They have to be able to formulate the numbers. And they're taking it out of the technology realm and putting it on a piece of paper in front of them and spending a lot of time just teaching them how to hold a pencil. And so are we too far gone? No. But I think it's going to take a collective effort across all of our educational systems to step back, to teach that part of it, and then, if necessary, move on with the technology part.
Danielle, going back to what I started the program with the statement that 44% of our nation's adults are reading and writing at a fourth grade level, that to me is absolutely shocking, and I think it falls into the same gutter, if you will, as to where I think the rest of our public is, as to being ill-informed, not caring, kind of having a naive or blasé attitude about what's going on. I think it's the attitude of the American public. They don't care anymore.
And I think I thought that same way up until I saw the teachers marching in West Virginia. And the blanket cry that it really sent throughout our nation. I really felt, especially when it came to parents, that it was sort of everybody else's responsibility. And, 44% of our nation's adults, that's 30 million people.
Wow.
That number is just really mind-blowing. But now seeing 2 weeks in advance that you are really seeing an outpour of the public saying, you know what? Maybe there is a larger issue involved here. Maybe we do have to take a step back and look at what's happening. I think that we are seeing that people care and that they are willing to be educated. And, of course, like any other subject, we are falling on two very divided lines. But I do believe that the numbers are so staggering that people are really beginning to wake up. And for me, I couldn't applaud that anymore. It's the same message I've been, filling out for years, and I think that teachers and parents and students are saying, okay, there's a great crisis happening, and we have to take control.
I've got to admit that as a young man and a student, I will go back even further. I really enjoyed going to various museums. I really enjoyed going to the Museum of Science and Industry down in Chicago. I was raised back in the Midwest. I really enjoyed reading. As a matter of fact, my mom and dad had a policy that if my sister and I didn't read 2 books a week, we were in trouble. We spent a lot of time at the library. I think I still had a lot of time to play baseball and ride my horses and everything else. But we've got away from that attitude, haven't we?
Oh, most definitely. We have replaced it with social media and television and gaming and parents that are exhausted and they're using those items as babysitters. And, I've always said, and I tell our youth this when I speak, is 20 minutes. That's all it takes. An average chapter takes you 10 minutes to read on a basic novel. So if you're saying, okay, 10 minutes, that's all it takes. I can get 2 chapters under my belt. And generally by that time you're hooked into what you're reading, as long as it's great literature and it has an interest for you. So you've gotten into a habit, 21 days of a habit, 20 minutes a day. By the end of the year, you're just over 7,000 minutes, and you've read multiple books by that time. And it becomes something that is a habit to you. And it's something that should be in every home, in every classroom, in every place. And a lot of the teachers I've spoken with have really started to do away with that morning work that is sort of mindless work for the children. And they're saying, okay, take out your book, read for 20 minutes, and then let's do a quick report about what you're individually reading. And that is what it's going to take in order to turn this around. 20 minutes is nothing. We spend 75 minutes on social media every single day. That's an entire work day by the time you get to the end of the week. Surely you can take 20 minutes and actually read a physical copy of a book.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, one of the headlines on your information sheet said that university proposes eliminating English history majors. Expand on that a little bit.
I lost you there at the end.
I said that on your information sheet, it highlighted the fact that university proposes eliminating English and history majors. Please tell me who and why they would want to do that.
It's in favor of technology, right? It's something that we really thought moving into the year 2000, that we were really going to be moving forward. And what happened is that we're moving backwards. We cannot eliminate English. We cannot eliminate history, although people are trying, right, across every state as they take down monuments and try to change the history books. Our history is our history because it's teaching us what not to do again, folks. And if you read it, you learn something and you formulate a better way to do it the next time so that we don't repeat the same mistakes. But we're really making a mistake with our technology. So we move into what's called mindless technology when we read. So what happens is we're not actually bringing in the comprehension. And so in favor of, the next big, business that's coming out, colleges and universities are saying, well, we really don't need to teach English as a major. It could be a minor. Well, what happens to the students? What happens to those teachers that are wanting to teach English? What happens to us writers? We have to know how to do that too. It really does not do anyone any favor to eliminate English or history as majors. There are great needs for these majors, and we can't get into that kind of process. It's ridiculous.
You brought up the fact of history and the monuments, and right now we're living in an era that, quite frankly, scares me more than at any other time, because those on the liberal left that don't like perhaps Robert E. Lee, or perhaps something that Lincoln did or did not do, or Thomas Jefferson's statue outside of Hofstra University, do they really, they being the millennials and those that want to see the putting of these statues in a closet and locked up, do they really understand the historical value of those people and what they suffered through at those particular times? I think through education they'd be much more open-minded.
Oh, I agree 100%. I think what happened is that we really started taking the competition out of life, both in the schools and our society. We took out a need or we really put in a need, I should say, to be sensitive in a way that everybody now has an opinion because of social media. Be sensitive in the way that if it doesn't favor your opinion, then it's wrong. All of these things really come back to, obviously, the home. But even in our educational system, we have to be taught what happened in our history. It's our history. It's what we were built upon. Without those things, the good things in our society came. Those were the open doors to what has been known as progress. So it's necessary, and we can't, take down the monuments and rewrite history. It doesn't serve anybody well. We really have to stop what I really call a bleeding of our literacy, of our history, of our education in favor of making sure everybody's feelings are okay. That's not what history is about. That's not what education is about. It's about knowing the facts and using them whatever they are in order to advance. That's what it's about.
Where do they draw the line, they being the liberal left in this country today, where do they draw the line and finally have a stop sign that they will listen to? Because when you're talking about Thomas Jefferson or George Washington or Lincoln, they were compatible with what was acceptable at that particular time in history. How dare we, with 20/20 hindsight, look back on them and either condemn them or condone them? I don't think we have that right. But through education, at least we can understand them.
No, I agree, and I wish I knew. I wish I knew where that stop sign was. It certainly would make everybody a lot more at ease, I'm sure, but it's just not there. It seems when I've seen it all, another thing comes and smacks me in the face, and I think, what in the world? How is that even possible? And I just don't know where it stops. I really don't. I wish I did.
What about your books, The Whiz Bang Machine, and other books that you've written? Tell us a little bit about your latest copies and where they can be obtained.
Yes, of course. So The Whiz Bang Machine, as a lover of history myself, is really based on that. It's an ancestral search between a granddaughter and a grandfather of their family's background, and they have to really dig in, and they find out everything they thought they knew about their family was completely false, and they have to find out why a curse was put on their family and work to break it. Lots of history, lots of travel, lots of insight as to the secrets that are put in place and what really is favored in a family over the truth. And if you go to my website, you can find all the information. There's links out to buy copies to every store that they're available at. And that website is DanielleAVan with 2Ns.com. And then I have written 2 children's books that are on the market, and those are picture books. And then, of course, Building Faith Through a Carpenter's Hand with TLC's Brandon Russell as well.
Oh, very well. Now, we have a guest on the air, a caller, I should say, with a question for you. So go ahead, caller, please. You're on the air. Thank you.
Well, I just wonder how bad things have to get before the young people, some of them realize it maybe. They may but some are willfully ignorant, distracted. Let's face it, the distractions that are on social media are so, in some respects, so powerful and degrading. And so, you wonder what kind of a crisis is it going to take before young people wake up and realize that what we have here is like nothing else on earth, and they don't even seem to realize it or care to know. They surely don't know their history. I don't know how bad it's going to get before they wake up.
Go ahead and respond to the caller, if you would, please, Danielle. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I agree with you. Our social media, like I was saying before, it allows everyone to have an opinion and everyone to throw out different information, true or false. I think that the youth of America are very greatly distracted. I think that we've seen some organizations rise up out of the different school shootings and the different educational environment situations that we've seen. I think that we, as parents, have to really drill down. And we have to, one, limit the technology and protect our youth the way that we were protected because we didn't have it. But I also think that they have to come to a place where something so big and so great happens that they really have to turn away on their own. I think that's going to be the ultimate case. I think we saw a lot of that during some of the latest shootings and school issues. But I don't really know. I wish I had an answer as to what draws the line for American youth. But of course, for me, it starts in our homes with our children and the conversation and the openness of saying, this isn't acceptable, and I won't allow you to act that way, and here are your values, and I hope that you respect them.
Ladies and gentlemen, I really enjoy having this lady on the program, literacy advocate and author, Danielle Van. Thank you very much for being on the program, and please know that I'll call you to have you back in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you. Very interesting lady and spot on with what's happening in education. I was just taken aback when I read that 44% of our nation's adults here in this United States are reading and writing at a 4th grade level or below. Unbelievable. Right now it's time for the weather, and the weather brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Hello, Don Scarrow. Hello, entire crew that works there. Wonderful people. And the number to call, 324-7657, scarrowsmeats.com. You can go to their website and find out all about the delicious meats, whether it's the marinated prime rib or smoked hams or the different kinds of bacon and breakfast sausages and bratwurst. Oh, I love bratwurst. All of this and so much more at Scarro's Meats in Jerome. We'll tell you more right after Gina has the weather.
Here is your weather forecast as we kick off another work week, and it's going to be nice for today, but as we make our way through the rest of the week, not so nice. Looks like sunny skies with a high of 58, slightly breezy, winds out of the southwest, right around 10 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly clear with a low of 37. Tomorrow, partly sunny skies, slightly breezy, high of 67, close to 70. Can you believe that? For Tuesday night, 40% chance of rain showers, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 42. Wednesday, partly sunny, high of 62, but by Wednesday night, 60% chance of showers, mostly after midnight with a low of 40. For Thursday, chance of rain showers before noon, possible snow showers as well. Mostly cloudy skies with a high of 45. That is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, I don't want to hear that dirty four-letter word anymore, snow. I'm done with that for this year. Scarro's Meats, absolutely delicious. 331 North Road, Jerome. Don Scarrow and his entire staff, they are changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time at Scarro's Meats. Delicious. Well, let's see, what else have I got to get in here this morning? Oh, once again, a quick reminder that if you are not busy this next weekend and you want to have a good time at Idaho's premier horse sale, don't forget to get on up to Salmon, Idaho for the Salmon Select Horse Sale and Mule Sale at the Lemhi County Fairgrounds in Salmon. Now, as I said, they're going to have over 130 head of horses, and I think they're going to have like 66 head of mules. It's going to start on Thursday, and they're going to have the Mule Calcutta on Thursday, and then the Mule Sale will be on Friday, along with all kinds of different events to keep you interested all during the day. And then on Saturday, the Great Big Horse Sale, and that starts at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. All of this and so much more at the Salmon Select Horse and Mule Sale at the Lemhi County Fairgrounds in Salmon this coming weekend. And for more information, contact Fred Snook at 208-756-2125. Real quick, we want to say a great big thank you to our major sponsor, and that's your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you right now with a great big spring tire sale. That's right. You can roll into spring worry-free. They've got the best of tires for your car, your pickups, your SUVs, horse trailers, boat trailers. They've got also for the cars right now on sale the best tire, the ultimate in tire technology, the Ultra Z900. Go in and check it out at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And don't forget the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, and a car and batteries. They are serving you with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. None better. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Right now, we're going to wrap it up and put it back in the box for today, and we're going to be back here tomorrow morning at 8:06. We've got a whole host of guests to talk to tomorrow on our program. Zeb at the Ranch on KBAR 1230 a.m., and then streaming live on the internet, zebbell.com, all over the world. And we always say, before we listen to this good word for Tommy Alquist, we're going to remember the way things were are the way things ought to be. See you tomorrow morning at 8:06.